Hey there! I'm on kind of a pumpkin kick lately. So, these are what I've been making the last little while. I think these are from last year. But I like my pumpkins to have a little bit of a better butt underneath. I like when they kind of pucker up there a little bit. So, that's how I'm going to make mine. Super basic. It's a ball, basically. And I've never written out a pattern as such, so I think I'm going to do that today as I go. None of mine are ever the same twice. The yarn I've been using, this is like the leftover Tigger yarn. Tigger here. I ran out of that yarn, but I do have this even brighter yarn, frighteningly enough. It was a whopping $1.12. Really nothing to lose by giving this one a shot. So for knitting, it's like a 4.5 millimeter. So that's a 5 millimeter. So that's probably about right. Yeah, that's a 5. So yeah, because I crochet a little bit on the tight side, so we'll give this a whirl and see how that goes. When I start mine, you need a fairly long tail, one that's going to be probably twice as big as the size you're planning on, at the height you're planning on making your pumpkin. So like give it a good foot or so. And start off, I should write that down, because I will also write the instructions for the YouTube video in the description. So you will need another stitch marker. Instead of using just a little plastic hook-in stitch marker, it works out super easy if you just use a chunk of yarn. So just pre-cut your yarn, have that ready to go, because you're going to need it right away. Start out, it's 2 chain. Give yourself some space to work. And then we'll probably go with 6 singles in second from hook. Okay. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's not bad. Yeah, we'll go with 6. With that, stick your stitch marker, your chunk of yarn, into the last stitch that you made. So that's it right there. We got just into those, pull through. Last year I was doing these just with a plastic stitch marker, because this has worked just in rounds and there's no joining at each one. So I found I lost my marker every so often. It would just fall out and it would be so frustrating. It wouldn't be a huge big deal in the grand scheme of things, because I mean really, if you're off a few stitches here or there, it's just a pumpkin and it's not super high tech. It's like all single crochet, so not a big deal. But once you kind of get into that rhythm and then you find your stitch markers gone, you're like, oh, where was I? And it just creates more of a panic than really there should be a panic. By sticking that thing in there, it doesn't fall out because it's just a little chunk of yarn wedged into your yarn, so it's fine. Because I did those first 2 stitches to begin with, to make sure I'm putting my my next ones into the right spot. I just kind of like to count back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So into here. So your next row, next round, I suppose, is going 2 in each. So that gives you 12 when you are done that round. So now that you're around to your marked stitch, put your first of your 2 stitches in. So that's 11. And then for your 12th stitch, take the long side of your marker, flip it over, hold it out of the way, and put in your 12th stitch. That way it is already marking where the end of your row is, and that's all in place, and that is like seriously not going anywhere. So, and in the end, or as you go, you just give that a little tug and it will come out like really no problem. So now what do we want to do? Maybe we'll go 2 and then a single. 1, 2, and a single, so that's 3. And one more is 18. So flip your marker. And that's 18. So obviously all we're doing is making a circle. Go 2 and then 1 again. One, 2, and a single. One's 27. We want to get to 36. 36 would be a nice place to be. So every third one, I need to add a stitch. So single, single, double should work. So then every time you put in a second stitch, it should be a multiple of 4. Flip marker. 36. That's going pretty nicely. So yeah, that was good. So that was 36. We could increase once every 6. That's probably just a nice way to go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7 goes in that same spot. marker again, and 42, multiple of 7, so we know we did that evenly all the way around. I could probably just go around one round just for kicks. Flip the marker. Oops. Oh yeah. Finish the stitch first, I suppose. Flip the marker, put the last one in. Yeah, so you can see how the marker just kind of zigzags back and forth through the piece. I think we'll go with 6 and then add 1 each time. We're starting to get some overlapping of where the doubles kind of line up. If I were to do a 6 or a 7 at this point, we're almost going to start to get little corners happening. So instead of counting my 6, I will probably just count 3 and then start with a double. So I'll go 1, 2, 3. Write that down. And then a double. 5. So that is making up 5 stitches. We'll see how that ends up in the other end. So we were going to go every 6 and then put in another one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7 goes in the same spot. So we go 43, 44, and we had started with 5 other stitches, so that makes us 49. Okay, let's go around one more time. But this Tigger is going to get sent to my cousin, hopefully shortly. But it was super cool to have him finished up and actually turn out, so I think I might do another one. And yeah, I don't know where he'll end up because I don't really have a real affinity for Tigger or anything, so I'm sure I'll find him a home somehow. Alrighty. Is that big enough? How big is that going to make it? It'd be a little smaller than that guy. Let's increase it once more. We're at 49, so that's divisible by 7. Not a whole lot else. So that means at every 7 you add another one. So 7 and 8 go into the same spot. So every double should finish on a multiple of 8. And 8. And since our last increase, we did sort of that funny little start with 3 to move it to the middle. This one we can just do straight up. So that was 8, 9, marker. 56 is a multiple of 8. So we did it right. Okay, so now I think we'll just start going up. It's starting to curve a little bit on its own. So that's fine. Because you're turning it into a ball anyways, so. And all the little dimples, because that's how it'll end up going, kind of like that. That'll just accentuate the fact. That'll give you better pumpkin butt. Yeah, so at this point, you just go as high as you want to go. But this is now just a matter of round and round and round. Okay, I really don't think I can handle going up any more than that. That's enough, I think. So now, since I happen to have my numbers here, I am just going to do that in reverse to close it back up again. Crochet 6 and then reduce 1. Six, and then reduce, pull loops up in each of the next 2, yarn over and bring them together, and then go again. 5, 6, and because you're reducing both of these together, put your counter, your marker over the first one. There we go. Start to close it up. So that takes us from 56 stitches down to 49. We are going to do a row around. Okay, so we've done that. This one, oh yeah, this was the one that we staggered back. So we will do it the exact same way. We'll do 3 and then reduce. Yeah, looks like we might be off somewhere. Again, pumpkin. Not a big deal. Okay, so we are either 42 or potentially 43 stitches at this point. So we're gonna single around. So it looks like all I did somewhere was I probably stitched 4 and then reduced. But at the end I just left the extra stitch in there. And so yeah, it's still 42 stitches. They're all in there somewhere. Okay, so now we do another reduce. So 5 singles and then reduce. Takes us down to 36. 5 and reduce. Since we're reducing in the end, move your marker over. And reduce. So we've now done the 5 singles with the 1 reduce. So we are now down to 36 stitches. I think I will probably go one more row, just because it'll start to close it a little bit quicker, because we are actually, the next time we're going single, single, two together, so that's going to reduce it by like a quarter. And then we'll have a better idea of how we're shaping our pumpkin when we stuff it. So, okay, so one, one, and then a reduce. One, two, reduce. Two, and marker over. Oops. And reduce. So we should be down to 27 stitches, and you can see we are starting to close it in. That. Where are we here? There we go. So yeah, round-ish. Now the super duper secret part to getting the good pumpkin butt. What are we, 2 hours in? Now you get to see how to do the pumpkin butt. It's a very exciting moment. First, I'm going to pull the tracker most of the way through. So yeah, so I'll leave it, I don't know, so I can see like the last 5 or 6 rows, I guess. Now, the tricky part. That's not tricky, this is just the secret. Take your hook, stick it in the end, and your long tail that you started with, if it happens to be on the inside, don't get your running yarn, your tail, pull that through, on your hook, pull it through the bottom like that. So now you've got the bottom side of your pumpkin like that, with a little loop sticking out of it, and the other end is out the top like that. Okay, so this is your starting tail, looped out the bottom end. What you want to do when you are stuffing your pumpkin, try and keep this pretty much centered through the body. So, if I grab that, there we go. Take your floof. And just try and stuff evenly on both sides. Yeah, so you also want to try and stuff it to be fairly round. I think that's probably stuffed enough. Okay, so this round is also 2 together and 1. As we are closing fast, we are getting rid of 1/3 of the stitches in this round as well. So we will go 1, 2, 3 together. So you're just alternating, reducing, and singles. And 1. So we have moved from 27 to 18 stitches, and we go the same thing this round. 2 together and then 1. Okay, at this point I am just going to pull my marker right out. We're down to 12 stitches. And we've still got our loop hanging out at the bottom. The string is pretty much in the center still. We have a general round-ish orange ball. Next round we are going to reduce every stitch, so we're going from 12 stitches down to 6. So every one is a reduce. So that's the first one. Okay, so we are down to 6. I kind of wouldn't mind going a little closer than that. Although the stem is going to be there, so it's not a huge big deal. I'll probably just go a couple stitches over. And do a single crochet, or just do a slip stitch. I'll do twice just to make sure. Instead of going and cutting this and just pulling it through, take the whole thing and wrap it around. 1, 2, 3, 4 times all the way around, plus give yourself a little bit extra just to make sure. The scissors are somewhere. I don't see them on the camera anywhere. Okay, we just won't tell my dentist. There we go. Okay. So we've gone 4 times around. We're now cut off of the yarn ball, so that goes away. Now you can fasten that off. So just pull it all the way through, tighten down your stitches. Now for the pumpkin butt magic. The short tail is the one that is connected with a loop on the bottom. So take your new end, take it around to the bottom, put it through the loop, pull it through. Just run it across the center of your pumpkin. Bring it back up around the top. Pull it tight a little bit, not like super crazy. And then loop it underneath itself. Right at the very top. Now go back 90 degrees. Almost like wrapping a present. You go around, down to the bottom, put it through this loop again. Pull it through. So you want to keep your sections fairly even. Back up around to the top. Give it a little pull again. And go back underneath the beginning of that time around. Give that a little pull. Ignore your centerpiece again. Go back down around again. Now you are dividing your sections in half again. Once you get to that bottom loop, put it through the bottom loop again. Back across, so you're dividing that again. Bring it around. Up to the top, and I think we'll take it sort of over to this side. You just want to make sure you take it and secure it around something on the opposite side, and then sort of go back in a different direction again. So we're going there. So we came up here, wrapped it in underneath some of these strings. Now we're taking it to the last section that needs to be divided still. That right where we want it. Again, stick it through the loop. Go down. down to the top. And then loop it through a couple of the other ones again, just so that it's not hanging loose. Okay, kind of position everything up top so that your sections are how you would like them. As you finish, they will pucker in some more. So if you were just sort of looping your yarn around and making your sections, that's what it would end up looking like that. So I mean, you still get the sections, but it's still fairly flat on the bottom. That's where your little string from your bottom loop comes in. When you pull on that short string from your starting tail, when you pull that, you can see that's tightening in the loop at the bottom, and now that is going to pull all of those crisscrosses in. Now look at that pumpkin butt. Nice and puckery. You got little edges there. And both of these, this has all been worked on one continuous piece of yarn. You've now got both ends up at the top. Tie those babies together and you are done with it. Like that. And you've got a little pumpkin. So the only other thing left to do is to put a stem on it. I grabbed a brown to do a stem on this one. Like, we're gonna go up just a bit because this is a thicker yarn than that, so start with a loop. Just gonna bring that from underneath. And attach with a single crochet to one of the sort of little pumpkin spine pieces. And that's what I'm going to do all the way around. A single crochet in each of the spines. And do it again in the first spine that you started with. And you can pull those down. And those are the ones I'm going to cut off shortly. And then go around again. Yeah, so you can either leave it just a little stumpy thing like that. I usually sort of reduce. Not so much reduce as there we go. Reduce. Sometimes I'll reduce, sometimes I'll just put a stitch in every second one. And when it's this small, it doesn't make a huge difference. Yeah, so we started off with 8 singles because there was like one for each spine pretty much. So if I reduce all the way around, we're down to like 4 stitches. Reduce a couple of those. And just work through another single stitch in here. Yeah, so that's not too bad. And then we'll just crochet up a few more chains. Just kind of want enough to be able to secure this back down to the top here somewhere. Whether I tie it or whatever. So yeah, that's probably good. Just pull that through. These I will cut when I find my scissors. There they are. Woohoo! Because they're just through the center of the thing here, just push that down, give it a snip, pull the stand back up. So those are now off. And this little guy, my other hook, here it is. I want that to sort of look like the round part of the stem, kind of like on that one. Yeah, there it is. Little pumpkin, a little bit brighter than this one. Now that I'm looking at it, I mean, there's not a huge difference for the color. You can definitely see the stitches are a little finer. So that is gonna do it. It's been a couple hours. It's been longer than a couple hours. Almost 2.5 hours. So yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for stopping in and out. I suspect the keyword on it somewhere will be pumpkin butt, because it's just easier to find that way, maybe. So thanks again. Happy to see you. Come again. Bye.